When taken into account all that we have learned throughout this series, we can clearly see the solution to the world's problems. Collective evolution by way of self-actualization of ourselves and the world that we inhabit, learning about the true nature of reality. Only then can we reprogram our reality, changing the way we live on this planet and changing the way we see ourselves. The transition from primitive humans to technologically advanced ones happened a long time ago, far before the established historical consensus. This entire process of psychological evolution has already occurred before. The taming of the ego and transcending all social and cultural constructs. It all has already happened. The civilization that existed before the Younger Dryas impact event was consisted of people who were by definition enlightened. A people who tapped into the morphic matrix that binds existence together. A people who understood that the body was the vessel for the being. In this culture, segregations did not exist. Not between people, and not between any form of life. But it all came to an end. Cataclysm split us apart, forcing humanity to reset. And now the process has been repeated, only this time, it has been manipulated by those who seek dominance. Technological power has replaced the power of belief. Any esoteric talk is regarded as fantasy, pseudoscience. The only place for this fantasy rubbish is in storytelling and science fiction. What I've noticed is that storytellers, particularly filmmakers, sneak hidden messages within their story. Hidden messages reflecting the situation.
The Force?
And the Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together.
I'm trying to understand this deep connection that people have to the forest. She talks about a network of energy that flows through all living things. She says all energy is only borrowed, and one day you have to give it back.
What I've also noticed is that the great philosophers of our time, who speak truly about the state of our species, are the comedians.
Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slower vibration, that we are all one consciousness, experiencing itself subjectively. There's no such thing as death, life is only a dream, and you're the imagination of yourself. Here's Tom with the weather.
Think of how we started. This country was founded by a group of slave owners who told us all men are created equal. Oh yeah, all men, except for Indians and niggers and women, right? Always like to use that authentic American language. This was a small group of unelected white male land-holding slave owners who also suggested their class be the only one allowed to vote. Now that is what's known as being stunningly and embarrassingly full of shit.
What all the great minds of the world have been telling us is that we've lost our way.
Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people.
Our generation is so hopelessly distracted by what we think is important. Our day-to-day lives, which is so normal to us, is the distraction that's keeping us from ascending. Our jobs, careers, and schools are structured to distract us from realizing our true selves.
I can't get involved. I've got work to do. It's not that I like the Empire, I hate it, but there's nothing I can do about it right now. It's such a long way from here.
That's your uncle talking.
It's true that the parents pass down onto us the mental programming that have been instilled within them. All forms of government are forms of mental programming. All forms of economy are forms of mental enslavement. Even the word government is derived from the Latin word gouvernementis, which means to control the mind. The society distracts us. Greed corrupts us. It shapes our belief systems, deems what is important and what is not.
A cycle. A mental prison that has changed the course of humanity. Money changed the way in your brain thinks about reality. What is important and what is not. What your priorities will be.
All must learn about the true nature of consciousness.
You must learn the ways of the Force.
Only then will we understand who and what we are. Only then will we be able to reprogram the Matrix, reprogram reality, and live a life that is reflective of the infinite nature of reality. A life of infinite choices, true freedom.
To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people, and so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!